So welcome to the no-cook paleo dessert, which is called I Can't Believe It's Not Chocolate. So the ingredients that you'll need for this recipe are basically made up of nuts and dates in the main. You also sort of need some cocoa powder, some oil, some desiccated coconut, and I think that's about it basically. So just to go through sort of some of the equipment that you'll also need, because it's helpful to have just all the equipment you need. You do need something accurate to weigh your ingredients on. You need a flattish baking tray that you need to have lined with silver paper so your pudding doesn't stick to the tray. You need to have some sort of food processor. I just use an Indian one called Preeti, which is very reasonably priced and does the job very well. And you need to have a sort of spreading knife called an icing trowel, I think it's called. So that really helps you to sort of spread the mixture and get it quite flat. So in terms of the quantities of the ingredients, you do need to have them fairly right. For the dates, you need to have 200 grams of dates. They can be any kind of dates that you want. They need to weigh 200 grams after you've taken the pips out of them. The original recipe calls for majdool dates, but I think you can just use any dates that you happen to have to hand. We're lucky in the UAE because in season, literally people have basket loads of dates, often just harvested from trees in their garden. The nuts that the recipe calls for originally are cashew nuts and almonds, so 75 grams of cashew nuts, 125 grams of almonds. The first time I made the recipe, I literally just used the nuts that I had at home, so I don't think I had exactly those quantities, so I just made them up with other nuts that I happened to have at home. You need 65 grams of desiccated coconut. Now I just use the packet desiccated coconut that you can buy from the supermarket, but I think if you go to places like Lulu's, you can get the fresh coconut, and I'm pretty sure that would work very, very well, that they kind of grate very coarsely for you. 25 grams of cocoa. I'm guessing any cocoa would work. I just use the Cadbury's variety that you can get here. And again, originally the recipe calls for 80 grams of coconut oil. I didn't have any coconut oil for cooking in the house, so I just used sunflower oil. And I think you could actually get away with sort of 75 grams or just a tiny bit less than that. So that's basically all the ingredients that you need, and they are the proportions that you need to have them actually weighed out in. So the first thing that I would put in the food processor actually is the nuts, because both of those are sort of quite hard ingredients, and you need to make some sort of like a meal out of them. I mean, it's called like an almond meal, but I guess this would be a nut meal. So grind them until they kind of resemble powder, a sort of powder form. And then I don't think it really matters what order you add the rest of the things in, but you can add all the rest of the ingredients in, take the nuts out, and then add all the rest of the ingredients in. Grind up the whole mixture, add your almond, your nut meal in, and the mixture looks a little bit like this. So pick the whole lot out. There's quite a sort of thick, heavy blob, if you like, of the mixture then. Lay it on your baking tray, and then take a little time with your icing trowel to spread out the mixture evenly all the way across the baking tray. What you need to do then is just to literally find an empty shelf in your fridge and leave it in there for at least an hour or maybe an hour and a half or so to set. And if you want to speed the process along, there's really no harm in you popping your tray in the freezer for a little while as well. So when the mixture's set, there's no cooking at all other than it going cold. You take it out and sort of cut it with a very sharp knife into squares, as I have done here, and lift out the squares and put them on your serving plate, or put them into a Tupperware box with a lid to have for later on. The blog post itself has all the nutritional analysis of what a portion of the pudding contains, and my only advice to you is to try not to eat too much. But remember, it has no flour, it's got no sugar, and it's got no eggs. So be careful of how much you eat, but I have a lot of evidence from people who really do prefer this to lots of ready-made desserts with lots of refined sugar in them. So go to the blog for the full recipe if you want to see it, and I hope you found this video helpful. It always helps me if you leave a comment at the end of the recipe. Thank you.